There will not be many wargamers to whom the story of the heroic defence of the Alamo will be unknown. The commanders, William Travis, Jim Bowie and Davey Crockett, have gone down in American folklore for their brave but ultimately futile stand against the Mexican forces under Santa Anna. Despite its fame, the Mexican War of Independence remains on the fringes of mainstream wargaming, which is a shame as it's an interesting and colourful period. Texicana 2, The Alamo and Beyond, Wargaming the Fight for Texas 1836 to 1859 by Chris Swan aims to change all that, introducing the war to those who have not thought about gaming it before, whilst also providing useful information and ideas to those who have already gamed the period. The book is an A4 size softback that runs to 119 pages, many of which are in full colour. Each chapter begins with a historical overview of the campaign before discussing key engagements. These battles are then presented as scenarios, with army lists provided alongside information about the key antagonists. We begin, as the title suggests, at the Alamo, where the author takes us through the background, personalities and key events of the battle. As a wargame, this battle could be something of a foregone conclusion, so the author suggests fighting just one aspect at a time, such as the assault against one section of the wall. There are also special rules to allow for random events that add flavour to the game. This pattern is continued in Part 2, which deals with the rest of the Independence campaign, and provides scenarios for the Battle of Coleto Creek, San Jacinto and Salado Creek. Chapter 3 deals with the Mexican Army, its background, organisation and uniforms, whilst Chapter 4 does the same for the Texan Army. There is a full colour plate for each side showing uniforms for many of the regular and irregular units, alongside some ideas on how to represent them in wargames using the black powder rules. As well as using the special rules provided in the Black Powder rulebook to individualise certain regiments, the author has included some special rules of his own to give each army a period feel and to help it act in a way that it did historically. This is a nice touch and shows that the author has really put some thought into how to best wargame the period. Chapter 5 deals with the war against the Comanche and again provides background, key historical figures and details of the campaign before providing the Battle of Little Rogue Creek and Plum Creek as two wargame scenarios. Again, a page of full colour pictures is provided showing the Comanche and Texan opponents as well as details of how to represent them using the black powder rules. I like these scenarios. The author has suggested some nice rules to represent the often random response the Comanches could have to the death of their leaders, which ranged from fleeing in terror to fighting to the death to avenge them. The final pages deal with the Mexican uprising against the new Texan governors, better known as the Cantina Uprising, which I must confess I'd never heard of before. Again, full historical info is followed by details of the protagonist and armies and the key battles. Colour plates, black powder stats and special rules follow those, whilst the battles of Abona, Rio Grande City and La Bosala are provided as scenarios. Finally, the appendix discusses the availability of miniatures for the various conflicts covered in the book, along with some random event cards to use for each of the battles that appear as scenarios. This is a nice idea, as it raises the possibility of some of the more unlikely things that happened historically happening in your games, such as units running low on ammo, or inspirational leaders suddenly joining flagging regiments. I have to say that the author really does know his onions when it comes to this period. The historical backgrounds were interesting and genuinely discursive, while he has obviously put a lot of thought into how best to play out the battles as wargames. Those of you used to high production values of other supplements on the market at the moment might find the photos of the miniatures in the book, along with the artist's prints, a little rough and ready, but they do the job well and illustrate what the armies of the period should have looked like. Overall, if you're already playing this period or think you might like to know more, you'll need this book from Partizan Press. This video has been brought to you by WI Prime, Wargames Illustrated Magazine's online members club. View more videos or find out more about WI Prime by following these links.